Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we are going to have a look at NextCloud initial setup. We've already talked in a previous video about how to install NextCloud. I've done one on installing it on cPanel, and we did a more recent video on the single one-click install on Linode. If you're looking for a best way to do it, I would probably use the Linode option. Use my affiliate code tlm.li/Linode. You can get $100 credit for 60 days. You can give this a try up, see how it works for you, and then after you run out of your trial period, these will actually cost $5 a month to run at 25 gigabytes of storage data. It is a very good option, very nice option to use. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the initial NextCloud setup once everything is installed. So what I've done here is I've gone in, I've added one user. I'll show you how to do that. I've gone through and added a couple apps. I'll show you how to do that. And with that, let's go ahead and jump on over to our web browser view. So here we have our NextCloud, and we are signed in as the system administrator. Now remember, even in my production run, my basic user that I use for my day-to-day NextCloud work is not an administrator. I do that for an extra layer of security. So we are logged in here as the administrator. You can see this is the new screen. It has any important mail, any important upcoming events will show up. There's some recommended files over here. You can customize this new screen. You can talk about status, weather, recent statuses. You can change the backgrounds and things like that. So default images if you set something in the theme, or you can pick something else if you prefer. So there you have it. There is how you can do some basic setup on your own personal NextCloud build. Now up here in the upper right corner, we see our user pull down. If you're logged in as a basic user, you will have a set status, you will have a settings and help, about, and log out. I think those are the only ones you're going to get. Since we're as an administrator, we also have a users and we have an apps setting in here as well. Additionally, our settings panel is going to have more options. Now, the rest of them over here in the bar up on the left here, these are the various places we can go. This is our basic dashboard view. We have we have our file view, which will give us our individual files. So you can see here that in our NextCloud, one of the new functions that we have inside of our NextCloud in recent versions is they have their own built-in Calibora server. So it's very easy now to install NextCloud and then have your own Google Docs replacement here, which you can do much like you do Google Docs. You can set everything up and you can go ahead and share those files even with people without a NextCloud account. They can get in here, you can collaborate, you can set them password protected. You can come down here, you can download them as a PDF, as an open document, doc, docx, RTF, or even as an EPUB. So a lot of neat options that we have. Now what we're going to focus on today is we're going to focus on some basic setup and administrative tasks rather than just how to get everything used. First place we're going to go down is have a look at our users. So with our users, we can add individual users with the Add User button. I have my administrator over here, and then I have my basic user. Now, the other thing we have is we have groups. The groups are useful for utilizing your NextCloud in order to basically allow different people inside of your organization to have different access files. So one project I'm working on and building a NextCloud for right now, they have 3 different businesses, which different people have different roles in the different businesses. So we're going to create a group for each individual business, and then each person with a NextCloud account will be assigned to those groups. So to do that, just hit your Add Group button. So I'll do one for marketing. And it might prompt you for your password. If it does, just go ahead and enter your password. Let's do another one for web team. So there we've added 2 groups, a web team and a marketing. You can click on the trash here to remove the groups. Go back to everyone. And then if I want to assign my user account, which is just Tom, I want to hit my edit user and I want to assign to a group. Now the admin group will allow administrative privileges. I never want to do that for anybody other than just my admin user here. So let's go ahead and say I'm in the marketing team, then hit the check mark when we are done, and we are going to be all good to go. So now I'll see that I'm in a group web team. This comes in handy if we want to come over into a file and we want to share it with anybody. So let's just go down here for this welcome to NextCloud, hit the share button. Now you can share it with, you can do names, you can do emails. So I could do something like just in the individual user, or if I wanted to, I could go ahead and set an individual group. So web team will share it with everybody within the web team group will have access to the file, but people not in that team will not unless I explicitly also add them into the sharing. We'll talk more about sharing maybe in a different video. Right now, we just want to look at the administrative tasks. So let's head on back to users. When you create a new user, all you need to give them is a username and a display name. Assign them a password and then an email address, and you can add the groups, you can skip the groups. And then the other part that you might want to do is you might want to give them a quota. And we need to slide our bar over there a little bit. So we have a default quota, we have an unlimited, we have 1, 5, 10 gig options. So if you want to set our default quota, and if I hit check, I haven't filled anything in here, so I'm not going to hit the check button, but it's going to assign whatever quota we have. So you can see here, my user Tom, I've assigned a 1 gigabyte quota, but my admin user has the default quota, which right now I have set at 4. I believe the default is maybe 10 or something, or it's unlimited. You can change that by finding the settings down the bottom. It's slightly cut off there in my view. But the settings there is going to pop up your settings button and you can see the default quota. You can select it from the list or you can just go ahead and enter whatever it happens to be. So I'll hit enter 4 gigabyte, hit the enter key. It's important to hit the enter key and then that's going to assign whatever your size is. So we can show languages, show last logins, things like that. You can send an email to a new user. Now, if you are using Linode, that will probably not send the email to the new user unless you have the Linode team unblock your email ports, which you can do that. They just keep them blocked for extra security. All right, so there is our user groups. The other place you might want to go is you might want to have a look at your apps. So the apps is where you can add a lot of functionality to it. Have a look first at the security and see if there's any of these you want to do. So there's antivirus for files. I believe this is going to do ClamAV. And then we have brute force settings. You can enable or disable brute force settings. We also have geo-blocker if you want to block certain IP addresses. That would be a useful thing, particularly if you're only working on US teams. You could just restrict everything that's not US unless you have somebody explicitly traveling. We should also have some two-factor authentication options in here as well. I think they might have a YubiKey option. I can't remember for sure. Yep, there you go. There's the YubiKey. This one is an untested app, so you can go ahead and test those out. There's various other options in there as well. So there are indeed a lot of methodologies for two-factor authentications and other forms of security on your system. You might also have a look at your Office. So you have Calibora Online. We have the code server. Now, me on my production one, I'm still using an external server. Although I might be testing around with this, and if I can drop that external server, I might go ahead and do it. It's going to save me some money if I do. But since I've already upped it for another year anyway, I'm not going to do it anytime soon. We have the mail application. Here's our calendars, contacts. You can flip through. It's going to list any of your already enabled apps at the top of the store listing. And of course, anything requiring an update is also going to have a blue update button. We have anything else that's available down here at the bottom. Now, I will point out a couple things. There are only Office applications. You generally cannot use only Office and Calibora and other Office online integration all at the same time. So you need to pick one of those to use or not. But regardless, you can go ahead and set all those up. We have a variety of other things. So here's multimedia. So there's some maps, there's some news, there's some music, phone sync. So sync SMS messages with your cloud if you want to save your SMS messages. There's the talk application. I found it's still a little buggy, but maybe we can just keep an eye on it and see if it gets better or not. We did try and use it recently and decided Jitsi was a better bet for us. But nevertheless, we'll just go ahead and install that guy. So you can flip down through your app settings and or all of your various apps. You can install any apps. We do have app bundles as well. Hopefully if I leave the page, that'll continue working. So here's a variety of app bundles. So an enterprise bundle, it's going to have auditing, logging, file access controls, LDAP user backend, retention, terms of service. You can go ahead and enable all those. We have a hub bundle. We have a groupware bundle. Deck is actually pretty nice. It's like a Trello alternative for your NextCloud. Very nice. Here's your social bundle. Ooh. Education bundle. So you can go ahead and update all of those. Now, your settings are on a different screen. As the admin, you have access in your settings. You'll have your personal settings at the top. These are the settings that everybody is going to have access to. So, in other words, all of my other basic users are going to be able to come in here and change their own settings. Obviously, they can't change mine. That would be ridiculously weird. But you can see here that you can go ahead and you can click in here on your personal group and you can choose to download your apps. So here's how to connect your calendars, contacts, WebDAV. Here's the apps on the Play Store, desktop app stores, things like that. I wish they would actually give us the F-Droid links as well. You can get these on F-Droid, particularly for you FOSS folks out there. And that's what I do, is I use mine from F-Droid. Now down here we have the administrative settings. These are the various other settings. Anything for the apps that will require app settings will show up down here. So you can see Talk did get installed. Over here we can set up how we can get Talk to work. You should be able to set it up to your stun servers. So again, we'll see if these are actually functioning better now. I actually have a stun server set up on mine separately. Back in the old days of NextCloud, you had to do all that manually. And that's really the era I started using NextCloud. So I have all that stuff set up. On Code, you have to tell it if you're accessing your own server or you're accessing the built-in Code server. Now, I will give you a notice on this one. If you are using your own server, last time I checked, the updated Calibora app breaks your own server. It doesn't work with your own server right now. It's this weird, and they've known about it for a while. So if you're using your built-in server, keep your Calibora updated. If you're using the old server, I forget exactly which version it is, but at one point in time, Code servers stopped working with your own server. So you have to go ahead and manually install the old version by going to the GitHub page for Calibora Online, go into the archives and grab the old version. And if you need to know what that is, send me an email and I'd be glad to let you know what it is. It's the one I'm using on mine. We also, though, have things like your theming. If you don't like the regular blue, you can go ahead and change all that. We can change our system up here. Maybe I'll call this let's call this the business, right? We'll call it the business cloud. This way people will just kind of see on there. Web link to it. So the web link is where it's going to go. So in this case here, this is the web link on the login page. Right now defaults to NextCloud. So if I had my own website, I could just go ahead and do this. So again, in an enterprise type situation, you might link that back. Slogan, of course I have on mine, keeping my data off big tech. And then, of course, you can change your color settings, whatever your color settings might like to be. You can go ahead and do that. And then there's a download button. You can actually go ahead and set your login image to whatever you might want it to be. And do I have some images here? Let me go ahead and see. I should have some images here of some form or another. There we go. There's some cats, pictures of cats. There you go. There's a cat in a box. We'll go ahead and put the cat in the box as the login screen. Why not, right? So that should upload the photo. If there's any legal notices, privacy policy links, header logos, favicons, you can go ahead and upload those as well. That must be a big picture. It's not updating. We'll wait until it uploads. All right, there we are. Now we have a cat in a box as our login screen. Of course, with the cat in the box, we want to have something that's closer to a brownish color rather than, there we are. There, it's a little ugly, but we'll go with that because it matches the cat in the box picture there. All right, so there's your basic theming setups. Here's our security. Down here, your security, then you can enable server-side encryption. It might slow it down, but it's going to keep your data a lot safer. You can enforce two-factor authentication. You can force people to turn it on. You can set various password policies. So there's the various things that you might want to do. So let's go ahead and log out. Just kind of show you what the login screen is going to look like now. There you go. We got a cat in a box. Not the clearest picture I have, but there we have it. So I'll go ahead and get logged back in here. I think I call this Tom Admin, and then enter that password. Go ahead and get logged in, and then we'll go ahead and be in here as our admin user. Going to land us right back here, and we're back to our basic defaults. So there's how you can get your NextCloud build set up. Let me know what other NextCloud tutorials you'd like to see. If you want to see all of the details on sharing and things like that, or how to use any specific apps, let me know. I'll keep this guy running for probably just another few weeks. And then let me know in the comments any other types of things you'd like to see. Once again, we installed this with the Linode credit. You can head on over to Linode, use my affiliate code tlm.li/Linode, get $100 in credit. That is good for 60 days. And this server here that we're using, that we're just kind of experimenting through, this would cost you $5 a month if you wanted to run this, $7 a month if you want to have the backup installed so that you make sure that you're not going to lose any data. It costs $2 extra a month. So there you have it. Let me know any other questions that you might have in the comments down below. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.